Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is our third episode of this new channel that we kicked off last weekend. So if you like transferable machine guns or want to learn more about them, then like and subscribe because we're going to cover a lot of them. All right, without further ado, what is this? This is the IMI Micro Uzi. It is the smallest of the Uzi family. So you have the full-size Uzi, the mini Uzi, and then this Micro Uzi. Micro Uzi also has the highest rate of fire, around 1600 to 2000 RPM. We're going to test the actual rate of fire in this video. We're going to use the Winchester white box like we did with the Tech 9 for an even playing field. The mini Uzi rate of fire is around 1000 to 1200, and then the full-size Uzi is chugging along around 650. There's probably 10,000 full-size Uzis on the registry, and then about 500 mini Uzis on the registry, and then only roughly about 30 micro Uzis on the registry. And that's due to the fact when they were kind of imported as semi-autos. So people are familiar with the 1986 machine gun ban, which prohibited essentially Form 1ing machine guns. So today we can Form 1 a SBR, but in 1985 you can Form 1 a machine gun. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So the ones that are on the registry are, obviously limited. So the prices every year have gone up, and today, like this one right here is as much as the new BMW. So they're incredibly expensive due to that limited number of them on the registry. Why they were limited, especially the Micro Uzi, is due to an act. It was a gun controlled act of 1968. A lot of people are not familiar with that, but what that act did was prohibit machine guns, factory machine guns that were to be imported. So HK, let's say you couldn't get an MP5, you had to get HK94. So that law made the only allowable imports to be of sporting purpose. So if it didn't meet the sporting use, then you couldn't import it. And essentially machine guns weren't used for sporting, so those were banned. So while you could get an M16, whatever, a factory M16, register it prior to 1986, you couldn't do the same with a MP5 or a G3 or something like that. You had to import a HK91 and then convert it to a G3. So the reason there's only about 30 of the Micro Uzis is because they were released in essentially 1985. And so very few people managed to get a hold of them and convert them in time before the 1986 ban. And in 1985, Hollywood wanted the latest and greatest machine guns. And this was before CGI, so Hollywood, for their action flicks, they rent a transferable machine gun from some renting company, and just fill it with blanks. And so it was a real transferable machine gun shooting blanks. They wanted the latest greatest for this movie called Invasion USA featuring Chuck Norris, and the cover of it has two Micro Uzis, and those were converted by Tim LaFrance of LaFrance Specialties. This is a LaFrance gun. 20 of the 30 or so guns that are on the registry are LaFrance guns. He managed to get his hands on them, and I'm glad he did, because he did some stellar work. If you're not familiar with Tim LaFrance, look him up. He is a gun guru. He was a self-taught gunsmith. He had a lathe and a Bridgeport mill in his basement, and he cranked out some very interesting firearms. He's got patents and IP around guns as well as suppressors. I think Surefire actually bought some of his suppressor patents, and he actually is the chief engineer over at Surefire, working for them today. So maybe one day I'll get the pleasure to meet him, but I'm honored to get one of his works of art. He's known for really unique guns like the M16K, which was a dual gas tube M16, very short barrel. I think it was like 7 or 8 inches. Ran reliably. It also featured in several movies. He had the M14K, which is M14 that uses the M60 gas block. He did a bunch of like unique things. But one of his clients was Hollywood. Like I said, they didn't use CGI back then, so these came out in 1985, and they were imported by Action Arms. They didn't have the stock. They had a 4-inch barrel. They were imported and stamped as a Uzi pistol, and they ran from a closed bolt, because in 1981 the ATF essentially made open bolts, even in semis, illegal because they were too easy to convert to full auto. So the Action Arms guns were semi-auto, closed bolt. The stocks were not available until the 1990s, the early 90s. So all the genuine original from the registration period micro Uzis were all in pistol configuration. This one's got the stock. I did own one briefly for about a year that didn't have a stock, but I left it without a stock because it was used in the movie Invasion USA featuring Chuck Norris. So I thought there was value in leaving it alone from like the movie, And apparently so, I had someone trade me M16A2 for it. So I'm not crying about it. I wish I could, keep all of them, but, I'm not made out of money. These things are incredibly expensive since they're limited and there's so few of them on the registry. This one costs as much as a new BMW. So while I would like to have 2 of them, it's like I'm not made out of money. I mean, it's a lot of money for any gun. But these were converted in a couple of different ways. So LaFrance, what he did was register. This one's known as a RR, mostly because the front of the magwell's got all of LaFrance's information on. But on the Form 4, the LaFrance guns were, as well as most of his conversions, were known as a machine gun conversion, which is kind of a broad term, but he used an open bolt, so he converted to an open bolt machine gun. It's very reliable, very, it's just like the Tech 9 that I tested last weekend that runs from an open bolt. It's like the open bolts just run like a sewing machine, and that's the case with this one. They came with a 4-inch pistol barrel. I found a genuine IMI micro compensated barrel, and then I got a 40 round mag. This is known as the bird of prey mag. It's quite rare, but normally they have a 30 round mag. The stocks, typically you have this micro specific stock, so it looks very similar to the mini stock. So mini stock is roughly about 2 inches longer than this, which gives a good sight picture. I've shot these micros both with the micro stock and the mini stock. And while the mini stock sticks out a good bit further, it's got a really good sight picture. So you can't do wrong by like having a mini stock. I think it's a valid use case for using that. So, but with that said, let's swing around this way and let's look at this thing in detail. All right, so here's the micro Uzi up close and personal. So you go look at the details of it. The stock, a great design, very sturdy, and it's got good retainment. It's got a spring and cam system. The barrel is compensated. It's kind of angled on to the right side, and this is done to help control the very high rate of fire. Opposite side, we got a mag release, which is common across all Uzis. We got the selector, and this is also common for converted guns where the semi-automatic stampings, the S and F for safe and fire is left remained, and then A for auto was done by the person that converted it to a machine gun, along with the third position. The micros in any of the Uzis are very easy to take apart, so we can disassemble it in like no time. So here goes the barrel. Pop off the top cover, pull out the bolt and spring, and that's it. That was super fast. One unique thing that LaFrance did, like I mentioned, he did some very high quality conversions, but he made the effort to try to slow down the bolt or try to slow down the micro as much as possible, because as an open bolt, the rate of fire is somewhere around 2,000, and to slow it down, what he did was add a tungsten weight. So here you can see the LS, and by doing that modification, he was able to reduce the rate of fire by 300 to 400 RPM to something a bit more manageable. Originally, these guns came, with a 4-inch barrel just like this, as imported by Action Arms. I'm running this gun suppressed as well, so I got some US made barrels as well as some IMI extras, and so I gave my buddy Kyle at KG Made a pair of barrels. They're just like this. One IMI and one US made. I came back a couple of days later. He said he broke a tool on the IMI one. He said the metal the IMI barrel is made out of is incredibly hard. So keep that in mind if you plan on doing the same. It's going to be very, very hard metal. But we'll put it in the suppressor format and see what that looks like, and we'll also do the rate of fire on it suppressed. I think it's going to be a little bit faster because of the higher back pressure. But yeah, let's see. Something unique that we're adding to this channel is standardizing a test which we can use to evaluate the effectiveness of a machine gun. Coined the CQB-LR test, this test rates the lethality of an automatic at CQB distances of 7 yards or 21 feet. The test measures controllability, accuracy while considering the energy transfer in time. For example, if you had a 22 LR automatic, the shot placement might be stellar, but the energy transfer is minimal. Similarly, an automatic 308 might have high energy transfer, but the shot placement might be much more difficult. Along with the energy transfer, the time at which it takes to deplete a 25 round mag is also a critical aspect. For this, a baseline rate of fire is used to determine a multiplier. For subguns, that average denominator is 800 rounds a minute, and for assault rifles is 700 rounds a minute. The subgun ammo used for this test is standardized to 115 grain Winchester white box, producing 360 foot-pounds of energy. In example, the rate of fire for a very controllable MP5 might be 800 rounds a minute, so while you have your shot placement scoring 8s, 9s, and 10s, the multiplier is 1. Comparatively, if you tested that Tech 9 that we shot last weekend with its ridiculous rate of fire of 2100 RPM, you might struggle to hit paper, but for the shot placement points you do obtain, they're multiplied by 2.6. In summary, the score is the energy transfer multiplied by the shot placement points and the rate of fire multiplier. Target is a life-size silhouette made by Birchwood Casey, product BC27. Ammo is off-the-shelf Winchester White Box, 115 grain, 25 round mag dump, must be sustained. Each machine gun on this channel will undergo an average 2 CQB LR test and be given a score. Starting off, all guns tested will be utilizing factory iron sights. This micro Uzi is the first of which to be given a CQB LR scores, so meet me out at the range and let's see what it is. Alright guys, so starting off with the very first test, this is the micro Uzi, 25 rounds of Winchester White Box, full auto, don't let off. See how it does with the CQB LR test. Woo! Dang! All that smoke. All right. That's actually quite impressive. That's better than I thought. All right guys, round two. Let's see how she does. That thing is quick. I don't think that's as good as the first round, but that's why we're averaging them. It's still pretty good. Not bad at all. Alright guys, we're going to do one more test. We're going to run it suppressed. We're running the Winchester White Box, so that's supersonic ammo. So it ain't going to be Hollywood quiet, but we're going to see if the controllability is better with the suppressor. And we're going to also see if the rate of fire changes, if it's increased from the increased back pressure. So without further ado, whew, man, thing runs like a freaking top. That's seemed faster. Target, it's also not bad at all. Huh, we might have to analyze that a little bit more. Impressive. Overall, I think the micro Uzi did very well for this CQB LR test, and see how it places compared to all the other machine guns after it. Alright, and now for 20 rounds of subsonic. Let's see how quiet this thing is. Oh. Hey guys, what'd y'all think? I thought the micro Uzi did very well. You know, we got 210 points in the first target, 181 points on the second target. We'll average those two numbers out, and then we'll determine the rate of fire, and then with that we'll use it as a multiplier to determine what the total score is. But I think this CQB LR test is going to be very interesting and valid for the future guns on this channel. We're going to be able to quantify the effectiveness of each of the guns using this test. So it'll be interesting to see how this little micro stacks up on all the guns to follow. But let me know what you guys think. And thank you for watching. And stay tuned.